Welcome back to Let's Play Higurashi Tsumihoroboshi. What else is there to say that? It's always the introduction. It's always the loading. Only it's sooner than usual because I was only able to record one part last time. I can't even see it actually. Right here, let's see if I can just casually look at Rena's original character art design. This is when she's like, you know when it has that zoomed in kind of face when they were playing the game? That's the face she's making. I gotta say, the original art style actually looks more intense than the updated version. I've also checked the forums a bit to see about the cards, and it looks like not enough, it hasn't sold enough or something like that, so they haven't put any cards in or some shit, I don't know. And God knows how long it'll take for the next arc, let alone the card drops. This is a really, really slow, release, really, isn't it? What should we do? It's best to just leave her alone, I think. My back is killing me, so I'm just lying down. Just like... And you know what bugs me? Is that we're supposed to be having another bloody heat wave this week, and I'm just like, ugh. Like freaking last night. During the freaking night, I was so just covered in sweat. It's just like, it's not even that hot. It's just ridiculous. Hey, you sure about that? Or friends, you know? It really does feel very different speaking while lying down. You just can't get your vocal cords to voice right. Well, it's like homesickness, you know? How convenient that you say that. You get lonely and you want to call home just to hear your mom's voice, but that actually makes your homesickness worse. When you're feeling lonely, the best thing to do is to devote yourself to sports or something like that for a change. It's like, what it just makes me think of Earthbound, because that was a thing in that, wasn't it? Like, Ness would have to phone home occasionally, or he'd get homesickness. I wonder if homesickness is in the dictionary here. Probably not. That's a very specific word. But we gotta have a word of the day, and I don't know what it'll be. Oh wait! Oh no. Yeah, it's just like it appeared in the novel, and I'd like put into Japanese. It is in here though. Homeshiku. So it's just really just like it is in English, really, more or less, isn't it? So let's go with home instead. Which I find to be weird as balls in Japanese, really. Okay. Yeah. What's that right there? Using conversation to... And, yeah, it's yeah. Which is weird. I mean, I know saying no, yeah, is like two E's in one, and house is just one E, but it just sounds the same to me. So there's your word of the day. You got no, yeah, and you've got home, yeah. It's just like, what? And you know what confused me as well in my... It's just like, I haven't been to college in ages because of the freaking heat wave, but like in a Welsh course, it's just like in the first stage of it, when they'd like say that something was incorrect, they'd like say it in Welsh, and they'd be like, yeah, wait, no, said like correct would be yeah. It's just like, yeah. It's just like in my mind, it's like, that's no in Japanese, but yeah is Yes in Welsh? It's confusing. I wanted to do club activities with us, but she doesn't want to. I don't know about her, but people usually have a desire to depend on somebody. You want to depend on somebody who supports you and sympathizes with you. Haven't you ever experienced that feeling when you can't stop depending on somebody when you try to cheer you up? Depending on somebody when they try to cheer you up. Well, I don't know. Completely dependent on someone means trying to earn even deeper sympathy from them. At that point, even though you're trying to comfort them, they just slip further and further into depression. If I find initial success through relying on someone receiving comfort, they grow addicted to indulging in misfortune. I think Rena knows that too. That's why she wants to be alone right now. If she wanted to depend on us or get comfort from us, all she'd have to do is stay with us and cry all the time. I don't think that's her reasoning, Rena. So, how can we cheer her up? Wait, did I just say that's not her... Did I just refer to me on as Rena? I think I might have. I don't know. I've only been up like maybe 2 hours, and I've just been lying in bed, just like can't be asked to get up. And I was like, okay, I might as well get up because I am thirsty, and here I am now. It's just like it's hard to get any sleep at all. It's weird. It's like the morning right now. It's kind of cool, while last night was freaking boiling. How's that happen? It's usually the nights of the cool down period, isn't it? And it wasn't even supposedly all that warm, but I bloody well felt it. I think she'd appreciate more if you tried to help her forget the pain than if you tried to cheer her up. Don't comfort her and don't cheer her up. There's nothing I can do, is there? That's a golden rule for a psychologist, did you know? Mental trauma can only be handled by the person who has it. If someone else helps a person out of their mental trauma, even if they succeeded, that person wouldn't be completely healed. So all we can do is wait until Rena heals on her own. What kind of logic is that? Is that really an actual thing? Just like, oh, this person's in a dark place in their life, but don't help them. Why? Because then they'll rely on you. Just like, well, if they go off the deep end and end up dead, well, at least you didn't try. I don't know, what's the logic there? I understand the idea, but I don't like how cold it sounds. Yeah, I don't like how cold that sounds, Mion. It's just like, sounds like you're just like, oh, we could try to help this person, or we could just be like, hey, you're on your own, pal. I clasped my hands behind the back of my head, looking at the ceiling. Mion laughed. Rena will be fine as long as she has someone like you to worry about her. I'm sure she can pull herself together. So all I need to do is to be close to her. I don't know about that. I guess, like, the whole point here is just, like, treat her like, just like any other thing. Just like, if she comes to you for help, that's when you'd, like, you know, just like help sort of thing. I don't know. It feels like that's how they kind of imply. Just like, don't force help on them. Just, if they want your help, wait for them to ask for it. Just, I don't know. It does sound pretty cold, though. There's something you can do, Keiichi. And that is freaking sit up because your freaking voice sounds off when you're lying down. Oh, but the fan is facing me. Just watch, man. By the end of this freaking recording, I'm gonna have so much sweat, it's gonna be ridiculous. It's like, all I need to do is record for like 30 minutes, and already freaking covered in sweat. Not right now, but I probably will be. That's what I hate about recording these days, is I have to turn the fan away, and it's just freaking so bloody hot. Okay. It's just like, I think someone came in to do like the boiler or something earlier. like an hour ago, and I noticed my radiator was on. I was like, what kind of madness is that? And then it was like, oh, they're probably doing something with that shit. Now it isn't on, so at least that isn't on, because that would be madness. Rika-chan spoke up. I wonder how long she'd been listening to our conversation. What is it? You can listen to her when she wants to talk to somebody. Well, that's just what I said, isn't it? It seems like that's what they're indicating. It's like, if she wants your help, she will come to you. But, of course, that isn't the case with everyone, though, is it? Is that all? I just listen and I don't need to make her feel better. Well, that's another thing, isn't it? Just like, let it all out. Keiichi, people feel better just by talking to somebody. Sometimes all they need is someone who does nothing but listen quietly. Just like me said, I think it's important for us as her friends to be there for her whenever she wants to talk to somebody. Mian and Rika-chan were absolutely right. I was going to pat Rena on her shoulder and tell her to cheer up when I saw her next. But, isn't that enough? It's like, if someone is, depressed, just saying, hey, cheer up, that isn't really going to do much, really. Just make them feel even worse. It's like, I would if I could. Now I know that would have been one-sided on my part. Rena doesn't want to feel down herself. She wants to cheer up if at all possible. If I cheered her up irresponsibly, she'd be very disappointed, because she'd think that I didn't understand her pain. You're right. I guess I wasn't even trying to understand how she felt. I wanted to cheer up, but I now know that's just what I want to do, not what she wants me to do. Thanks, you two. I think I finally understand. On that day, I thought I cheered her up by doing nothing, but I started to doubt if I had reached her heart. I might have just been dragging her someplace where I wanted her to go. I wasn't on her side in the real sense of the term. All of a sudden, Rika-chan patted my head. Don't worry, we all know that you're on her side. What? Did I say something out loud again? It did reach her heart. Kei-chan, you really did give her great strength on that day. With that passionate speech. Well, now that I think about it, what you said on that day was more than a little theatrical. Yeah. Just like the orchestra, and, well, obviously the orchestra wasn't actually there for them. It was for us to, just like be hitting the fields with the impact of that scene. I mean, look at this shit. Not this, but this. Like, you can't see it because of the window. Look at that. Looking to save times moderating comments? What comments? When was the last time I got a comment on this? This part right here. I haven't uploaded part 20. I'll be uploading it today as I'm recording. It's like red maggots, man. That's an iconic part of the freaking Higurashi series. Is the maggots. Just one view. Ooishi Sam's Curse, 5 views. Night of the Festival, 5 views. But Forgiven... scroll back down. Forgiven Sins, I think it's that thumbnail combined with that. 20 views and 2 likes. The most likes on this playthrough of this arc so far. No comments, but 20 views, 2 likes. Regaining Happiness, 7 views. Rena completes the girl, 6 views. Rena vs. Rena, on the other hand, 26 views. I might also point out that aside from Forgiven Sins, no likes or dislikes at all so far here. So, it makes sense for Rena and Rena to have those views, I guess. Rena shows the true colors, 14 views again, makes sense. Rena does some investigating, 7 views. A major plot twist, 1 comment, 1 view. No, 1 like, 13 views. Rena's Depression got 12 views. Rena's Parents got 19 views, a comment and a like. Rena's Secret Hideout got 8 views and nothing else. 21 views for a slow change mood and 3 comments. I think it's 3 comments because I must have replied to a comment, if I recall. Personal Waitresses for a Day got 1 like and a comment, and 15 views. Parents got 13 views and 1 comment. The epic conclusion of the water gun fight got 16 views. The ultimate water gun battle got 15 views. And It's Good to Be Back got 54 views, 1 like, and 1 comment. And my random, sort of story that I made using Higurashi, 10 views and nothing else. How? Sound like Rena now. It's like, so what do you mean looking to save time moderating comments, YouTube? There's no comments to moderate. We heard footsteps from the hallway and everybody started to head back to their desks. Take your seats, everyone. President, if you would. All rise! That's not how Mion's voice sounds at all. We didn't have a club meeting that day because Rena wasn't around. Yo, it's just like, we saw Rena when she just like was at home with the scrapbook, and then it cut to her father, well, no, yeah, it did technically, but it was the same scene. As she was reading, our father came in and said she had a visitor, and that visitor was Ooishi, and then it's just like, it pulled a cliffhanger on us. That's usually what I do to you viewers. Maybe it's just like, oh, that's for making cliffhangers all the time. Now you get a cliffhanger too. You didn't have to let me know because Rena, that worked out for me because I had an errand to run. It wasn't a big errand. My mum wanted me to use a point card to get some detergents. These are some really old-fashioned looking houses, aren't they? And again, this is actually photos from an actual village. Like, the actual village itself isn't like Higurashi at all, you know, plot-wise, but it is a real location, so these are like real photographs. So this village must be pretty damn old-timey, and really rural, obviously. I forget the name of the village, but if you were to Google it, it does have like, it has statues of the main characters from Higurashi, like in the original art style, which is kind of neat. And they've got like some kind of Higurashi merchandise thing here and there in some one building or something like that. But if you were to Google that, you might find spoilers potentially, because well, I wouldn't say to avoid spoiling. My mum wanted me to use her point card to get some detergent. I didn't see the point of going all the way to the store just to get detergent. But my mum told me to go by because she's busy helping my dad with his work. I started walking towards the shopping center. I noticed someone was watching me hiding behind a distant tree. I wonder who would do such a mischievous thing. I stared at them to find out who it was, at which point they emerged. Oh, Rena. Are you feeling better now? I was about to say that, but I swallowed the words. Somehow Rena looked very serious. What's going on? Shh! Rena put her index finger to her lips, told me to be quiet, looking around carefully, and beckoned for me to come over. I had no idea what was going on, but I followed her instructions, shut my mouth, and ran to her. Rena gestured for me to squat down to hide in the shadow of the bush. I didn't know why I had to do that, but I could ask her the question later. I just followed her orders for now. Rena looked like she was making sure no one was following her. If it was Mion, she'd do something like this just to fool me as a joke, but I know Rena doesn't do things like this for fun. I had no idea what kind of situation I'd got myself into, but I could feel how tense it was, and I made myself as small as I could. Good. It's okay now. I'm sorry. The tone of her voice made me relax a little. Phew, what's going on? I think someone has been following me. What? Who would follow her? When I thought about it, I realized how stupid the question was. Is it the police? Rina Mami and Tepe Hojo. 2 people disappeared. Even though they were awful human beings, the police had to investigate if they found out that they'd gone missing. It probably wouldn't be difficult to find out that Rena had often been to Rena's house. But it should be okay. As long as they don't find those bags, it should be okay.
I don't know if it's the police or not, but I feel like someone's been watching me since the night of Watanagashi.
It always happens, isn't it? I told you, man. After the Watanagashi festival, which is just a Watanagashi because I'm pretty sure festival is actually in its name. So, yeah. Just like after that, it always is when shit hits the fan. What do you mean? Once I asked that question, Rena stared directly at me with a blank expression. Her eyes looked as though they were evaluating me. She stared at me as if she was assessing whether I was worth talking to about something very important. Rena squeezed her own wrist tightly, then started talking in a whisper.
I can tell you what's going on, but can you keep it a secret?
Yeah, of course I can. If you want me to keep it a secret, I won't tell anybody.
Okay, I trust you.
She smiled and looked around one more time.
They might be looking for Miya-san's scrapbooks.
Miya-san? Oh, the nurse, Takano-san. What about her scrapbooks?
The police are keeping the investigation under wraps, so I'm sure you don't know. Takano's dad was murdered.
What? What? When? She told me to be quiet again. It's like, lower the buzz noise. I lowered my voice and let her continue.
On the night of Watanagashi, we met Miya-san and Takano-san, didn't we? They were attacked right after that. Tomitake-san was cursed by Ooishi-sama. He clawed out his own throat and died. Miya-san was burned to death in the mountains of the Gifu prefecture.
Is that true? I mean, nobody told me about that.
I know. That's because the police haven't disclosed their investigation. These cases make the 5th of the series of mysterious deaths, so the police have decided not to go public yet.
I see. I understand why the police are keeping quiet about it, but then, where did you hear this?
Can you keep it a secret? I've been in contact with Ooishi-san. He's a detective from the Okinawa Police Department. He told me about the case.
Why did he tell you?
I don't know. He said he told me because he could trust me.
You know, like I've said a million times, this is the answer to Onikakushi, and if you remember Onikakushi, Keiichi was in a similar situation to Rena is now. So it's like, unlike with Watanagashi and Manakashi, which are identically the same arc, just from a different character perspective, this one is different in that it's not the same arc, but it has a lot of similarities. So like this time, Rena is kind of like in Keiichi's position, but we're seeing it both from Rena's and Keiichi's perspective. So it's just like, it's kind of interesting with that, isn't it? I was dumbfounded to hear all this, but I knew she wasn't lying. It's just like in this scene, I'm just wondering what's going through Rena's mind. But if you think back to Onikakushi, what was going through Keiichi's mind is probably not too far from what is possibly going through Rena's mind. But then Rena's also got the added, backstory with her experience with Ooishi-sama, so it's gotta have its differences as well, isn't it? If it was Mion, she'd be sticking her tongue out by now, but Rena wouldn't make a joke out of something like this.